From Forex Traders Daily, this is your daily analysis with Ross Mullins, live from Richmond, Virginia.
Hello everyone, this is today's video analysis for January 27, 2016. In today's video, I don't really have a specific trade call for us for the day today. I'm going to be a little bit cautious. On the news calendar, we have some specific news that could affect the US dollar today. We, of course, have at 2 p.m. Eastern U.S. time the FOMC statement, which, of course, will affect any of the pairs that include the US dollar as we typically look at here in our analysis videos. So that being said, we'll be watching for some of the language that is posted in that statement, whether concern over the recent global turmoil and the market turmoil that we've seen, or no concern. We'll be watching some of the language in that statement to see if it gives the dollar a boost or some weakness is implied into the dollar because of that news. And then not too far after that, just at 3 p.m. Eastern U.S. time, about an hour after the Fed, we have the RBNZ rate statement and interest rate news. So we definitely want to pay attention to that as well. That would, of course, affect any currency pair, including the New Zealand dollar. And then shortly after that, 4:45 p.m. Eastern U.S. time, trade balance out of New Zealand. So quite an active day after the noon hour. So prior to that, if you're in any trades that include the US dollar, you'll want to manage them appropriately. If you're in profit, lock in. Make sure you've locked in prior to that FOMC news. If you're not in any trades, it might be prudent to wait to enter any trades that include the US dollar until after that Fed news coming up at 2 p.m. Eastern U.S. time today. So let's take a look at some of the trades that we've been following over the past couple of days here in the live trade room and our daily analysis video. Yesterday, the suggestion was to buy the USDCHF on any dips into the support zone that we saw up here at the top right-hand corner of the chart. So let's go ahead and zoom it on down to the 4-hour chart, get a better handle on this. We did actually take a buy. There was an opportunity to buy it at 1.0145, the top of the yellow zone. There was actually an opportunity to buy it deeper into it, 1.0130, even down into the 1.0125 through the day yesterday. We saw some opportunities to go long here into the yellow shaded area. So if you decide to go long, and I'll just measure it from the top at 101.45, you were able to see the market push 45 to 50 pips higher as it approached the upper 1.0100s and the 0.200 level. So 45 to 50 pips seen on that initial trade from yesterday, protecting profit during the trade room, moving the stops to break even. Potentially you could have been closing some profit as it was up into that level. Now, of course, it's come back down, taking us out at break even. Now, of course, we have the Fed news, and that would, of course, affect this currency pair as well. But even after that Fed news, if the market continues to hold above this yellow zone, I think that's a support that we could continue to buy off of, targeting, once again, back up towards the 0.200 level into the orange shaded area. Of course, I'm not going to enter it now until we get past that Fed news. Any breakout underneath this yellow zone and some weakness that we would imply in the US dollar would likely look for this to go back down towards at least the bottom of the channel and the green shaded area. So weakness out of the U.S. sees this break through the yellow zone and go down. More strength in the U.S. Would likely see the continued hold of support here at the yellow zone and the rise higher towards the orange shaded area for the U.S. franc. Now, we didn't have a specific trade call on the euro, but just vice versa on that U.S. franc. If you're looking for a short, we're at a spot that might be considered an opportunity to go short. This yellow shaded area has seen some congestion, support and resistance throughout the time that we've been inside our range, the black box here. I've actually adjusted those shaded areas just a little bit today, but again, we can see it bouncing around inside the black box for the past several weeks. We did actually take a sell earlier this week as it was underneath on the 4-hour time frame, underneath the green zone. It was a very short-lived sell because it continued to pressure higher, taking us out at the stop loss before continuing to rise for the euro dollar. Again, this yellow zone, kind of a hinge point today. If it stays underneath it and we see strength out of the U.S. after the FOMC, we likely look for another challenge of the bottom of our range in the green shaded area. Anytime we look for a push underneath there, we look for it to go lower. Back above the yellow shaded area, again, we'll look for the targets back up here at minimum to the orange zone. If not a break out of our range, we look for the continuation higher. Still not an opportunity until we get past the Fed, but definitely something to continue to watch on the euro dollar. GBPUSD, you can actually see at the very bottom of the chart, I'm in a trade, sitting with 26 or so pips of profit at the current moment. I've had quite a bit more here on the currency pair on this current trade. Let's go ahead and zoom it in a little bit. You can see my sell is at 1.4360. The sell is 143.60, and that's just about here in the middle of our blue shaded area, almost in the middle of the blue shaded area. So if you measure from there down to the bottom of our current candle, we're looking at 70 to 75 pips. So we can see that we've had 70 to 75 pips of profit on this current trade that we're holding on the pound dollar. So a decent opportunity there. If it stays underneath this blue shaded area, which again would imply some strengthening of the US dollar, we look for the targets back down towards the green shaded area. If the weakness happens with the US dollar and we see the market push through the blue shaded area, the good opportunity is for it to head on back up here towards the mid 144. So the blue zone will be critical, as it has been our resistance zone. We spoke about that in the trade room yesterday. This is our resistance zone. Underneath it, we have the opportunity for it to go back down. And again, that's strength out of the US. Weakness sees the breakout and the continuation higher for the GBPUSD. We haven't been trading the USCAD this week. It's been extremely volatile. Again, I don't think there's an opportunity right now because of the impending news, but definitely seeing some bearish movement here for the USCAD over the past few days. US yen been just sitting on top of the 118.30 level. Zoom it in here a couple of times on the daily time frame. Look at this, 1, 2, 3 days just sitting on top of 118.30. Definitely watching the Fed today to see how this happens. If we get some implied weakness out of the US, we likely look for this to turn back down and head on back down to the bottom of our black box and range, and maybe even a new low back down here to the blue shaded area. Any strength that we see out of the US, we likely look for this to continue breaking higher above 118.75 back into the 119s for the US yen. Australian dollar, we did have a small short here yesterday, a very limited risk short into the pink shaded area, the 7,000 level, 7,005. It pushed right back above the 7,025 level and now has continued to pressure higher. If you were in that short from yesterday, it's likely you have already been now stopped out of that trade. It was a clear area of resistance, and it was an opportunity that we decided to go ahead and take. Didn't do what we expected it to do, did not head on back down here to the yellow shaded area. So at least at this point, out of this one, not really looking to get back into it. Of course, with the US news and the RBNZ, we could see some volatility on this currency pair as well today. So anything higher for the Australian dollar, could even see it back into the 7100s for the Australian dollar today. And then, of course, the New Zealand dollar. Again, we have the U.S. Fed news, the FOMC, and we also have the RBNZ rate statement. So definitely not trading this one today until we get past all of that news for the New Zealand dollar today.
From Forex Traders Daily, this has been your daily analysis with Ross Mullins. If you would like to get Ross's analysis on all the currency pairs he's watching and all the trades he takes today, join him in his live trade room by clicking on the link below. Please leave any comments you have about today's video in the comments section below.